Hello, Gloria here of Treasures Unspoken. Welcome back once again. Today I will speak about my story, the reason why actually Treasures Unspoken was born. But before I share my story, perhaps you are new to this channel, you are new to Treasures Unspoken, and you are wondering what exactly is Treasures Unspoken. You may check our previous video, but before that, let me just summarize what exactly it is. Treasures Unspoken is a brand that aims to create awareness about pregnancy loss or infant loss. So the brand itself, what it does is to create awareness, to challenge the society, and to offer a support system to women who are victims of pregnancy loss and infant loss, regardless of how you lost your pregnancy or how you lost your baby, provided the baby is below 1 year or it's a pregnancy, whether it's weeks, month old, or even just after delivery, as long as it is a loss of a baby. All right, you can check our video in the very first video of this brand talks about exactly what Treasures Unspoken does. Anyway, let's dive in. So today we talk about my story. Like I say, there is no way I can minister to you if I haven't been through pregnancy loss. There is no way I can share to the society about or challenging them or creating awareness if I have not been there. So personally, I've been through two losses. The first loss happened in 2019, November 7th. I was fine. Everything was okay. I had a very beautiful pregnancy, except for the cravings, but everything else was fine. The baby was growing well. I was fine. I had started going through the antenatal clinic and everything was fine. I remember this day it was on a Wednesday, I think, around 5th, when I just got some few spots. I was around 9 weeks then, and I was in school. So I called my husband and told him I'm spotting. And naturally, as women, we could know uh, any kind of a spot, a blood spot, is not a sign of a healthy pregnancy. You need to be checked as soon as possible. And so quickly, I rushed to the hospital. The doctor was checking me, said that everything was fine, and that the only thing I need to do is more of bed rest. By then, there was no like a big thing. So I was just asked, what were you doing? Any tasks that you do? And told, no, please, you'll be off duty. Maybe like you said, you only go to school. That's fine. But please get bed rest. And then came a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, until I got to week 17. By this time, I've also gone for several, like 2 clinics, checkups, and everything was just fine. Yeah, so it was now week 17 on Wednesday now. I was fine. I went to school, came back home, rested. Now, Thursday morning, there was no sign of anything like there could be anything wrong. So on this Thursday, I was so much into people. I really wanted to talk to my family members. Somehow, I think it was the baby's way of saying goodbye, but I didn't know because I felt so much like I really just wanted to speak to my family members, to my siblings, and to my mom. So I called my mom, checked on her, told her, give everyone a phone. I just want to talk to everyone who is at home. Spoke to everyone. I called my big sister. She came and accompanied me because we were living nearby each other. And she came, so we just had a good time, but I didn't want her to go. I kept telling her, please stay a little bit longer. I want to be with you. I just feel like I need your presence or someone's presence, someone that I know, especially who is family. And when evening came, everything was fine. I was just resting. My sister had left me. Now my husband has now left and come back home. At least I'm sure now I'm not so alone. And around 9, I felt like going to the washroom, and of course, quickly rushed, came back, and in the process, uh, I felt like there was some weird pain in me, in my tummy on the right. And then I assumed, because my baby was sitting on my right side, I assumed like I had pressed the baby and I had really exerted a lot of pressure in the washroom. But the pain didn't go away. Actually, I just sat down like 2 minutes and I felt like, no, I need to go back to the washroom again. I rushed quickly and went. And in the washroom, somehow I didn't know that time. There is a way my water broke, but I didn't know it was the amniotic fluid also. So my husband quickly followed me to the toilet, and when he comes, he checks me, and he's like, "I, you mean you have urinated like this? How big was your splash?" You know, it's weird when someone asks you that. And I was like, "No, it was just urine." And I told him it came with force. I didn't know by then it was even actually amniotic fluid. And no, he looked at me and said, "Guy, you are bleeding." So that meant something is very wrong. And actually, the bleeding was not a drop. No, it was like oozing of blood. And I'm like, what? You mean I'm bleeding? So from there, it's now when he felt like, no, we need to do something. And he decided, let's go to the hospital. So where we were living, there were no like big hospitals. There were just like clinics and some mini hospitals anyway. And we rushed to hospital. We went. The hospital we went in, there was no sonographer, there was no gyna. They were general doctors. So they referred me to another hospital, and I went where they could now find a gyna for me. That's around 11 p.m. when a gyna is coming in and a sonographer to check me. When he checked me, he said, "We are sorry, you pushed your amniotic fluid. There is no water, and unfortunately, the baby is waiting to die." Yeah, that was literally what the doctor said. And we were like, what? We asked, is the baby still fine? Yes. And then you could see the heartbeats. The baby was just fine, but then now there was no water. So apparently, there is no way a baby can survive without the amniotic fluid. And in our minds, we were like, a miracle could happen. That we actually thought there is a way the body can create another amniotic fluid. So we were even asking, is it possible that this can happen? Also, so we ended like, no, everything is not fine. So come the doctor says, please, here we can't accommodate you. Please rush to Mbagathi. And now it was late in the night, now almost 12 a.m. And we couldn't really get to Mbagathi because I think money was a challenge on our end at that point. And then we also knew that Mbagathi, somehow we were not okay going there because we felt like it's a public facility. But we said, let's go home, let's go monitor ourselves and see what happens. I went home. I was literally oozing blood everywhere. The vehicle I sat in, everything was just blood. But I could feel the baby, and as I knew that everything was okay. So we went home and slept through the night. Yeah, and everything was just fine. Nothing was happening to me literally. I was not in pain. I was just fine, and I knew everything would work out fine and everything will be well. And we went home, we slept until around 6 a.m. Then I remembered there is this doctor who had attended to me uh, when I spotted previously. So we called him. He had told us, anytime if you want to come to the hospital, just come. Just give me a call, regardless of the time. He operates 24/7. And he told us to go and see him, and we went. And he looked at us, read the previous sonographer's report, looked at it and asked us, how are you feeling? Of course, he tried checking me, checked the baby and said, the baby is fine. The only problem is that you don't have the amniotic fluid. So I don't know what can be done, but at our level, we cannot handle this. So we are referring you to Kikuyu Mission Hospital. And I think that at that facility, you can be well taken care of. And we went to Kikuyu that now Thursday morning. Yes. No, so Thursday morning, Friday morning, we went to Kikuyu. And then at Kikuyu, unfortunately, they didn't attend to me as prompt as you would wish or as you would want. And I kept like, it took about 4 or 5 hours to be attended to. Anyway, I was checked and they checked the baby, but they told me now the baby's heartbeat was dropping. So they told us there is nothing we can do at our level. The only thing we have to do is to monitor you and wait for the baby to die. Then we can find a way of removing the baby. Or yeah. And we looked at that. Or they told us the other option is you go to Kenyatta. At Kenyatta you can be well attended to, but they didn't actually give us even a little hope. We were told if you go to Kenyatta, chances are you are going to lose the baby, and it's a worthless fight. So we were like, no, we are not ready to go through this. Now let's go back to the hospital we were in the morning. And we went to where we were that morning, and we gave the report. So the doctor suggested that instead of you being monitored, if this is the rate, plus they also checked the baby was just, now it had really fallen, the heartbeat had really fallen to, yeah, actually I knew I'm losing this one. And I was admitted, got induced, and yeah, I went through labor. And after 30 minutes, I lost my beautiful Hazel Yedaya. We lost her that very night. She was well, but she wasn't born alive, presumably because of the size, the age. She wasn't a mature baby, or a baby that you could say a baby literally, because this was 17 weeks, exactly 17 plus 1 day, yeah. So we couldn't say that this was a mature baby or so. And that's how we lost our zeal. Yeah. Yes, that's how we lost zeal. That's how we lost our first baby. We went home and started healing, and boom, it took about a year for us to get the next positive pregnancy test. And we were happy, obviously. We had a very, very, very beautiful pregnancy. I call it very, very beautiful because it was one of the best pregnancies that I've had. Everything was fine with us from the beginning, except for few spotting here and there. But every time I spotted, I could rush to the clinic, put on bed rest, given some Dufaston and some medications to stop the spotting. And yeah, we assumed everything will be fine because every doctor was telling us we will be fine. The other challenge that I had with that pregnancy is that I had placenta abruption. You may not exactly understand what that is, but it means, in layman's language, it means the placenta is not attached to the uterus. Actually, it's free, yet naturally it should be attached to the uterus. So it was like, yeah, there was a gap in between. Yeah, and everything was fine. we carried the baby to about 25 weeks. 2 weeks before her loss, everything was fine except that I was losing the mucus plug. By then I didn't know it was mucus plug, but now I know it was the mucus plug. So we assumed like everything is fine. I asked a few people who I thought knew everything about this, but all of them of course were saying no, it's fine, because of course no one literally knows, and pregnancies are never the same across all women. And in the process of just trying to find a balance, I remember this Tuesday when I took water and started feeling pain in my cervix. I didn't know what that was. In fact, I thought probably the baby is moving, because the baby had already started kicking, and I thought, nah, the baby is moving. Maybe people feel this way. I didn't know. And it's actually advanced to a point that it was unbearable. And until around 10 p.m., we decided, no, let's go to the hospital where I go for clinics. And I was rushed there. On being checked, they said I have an infection, a UTI actually. That was a wrong diagnosis, but that time they told me I have a UTI, and was given some medication, given an injection to stop the pain, because actually they asked me, is the pain 5 minutes apart, or 10 minutes apart, or can you really track it down? I could say yes. They asked me, do you have pain at the back? And I said no, because I wasn't feeling anything literally at the back. I was also not feeling contractions. It was only the cervix that was feeling painful. Painful in a way that there was nothing can stop labor pains. And I didn't know I was laboring. The doctors who checked me didn't know I was also in labor. And I was discharged and told go back home, but come back very early in the morning. We book a gyna and a sonographer for you who can check you. And I went back, and in the morning now, I was checked. The sonographer said, your pregnancy is fine, but there is a challenge. This challenge is that you are 3 centimeters dilated. So after the sonographer had done that, he left me in charge of other doctors who he had instructed to refer me to a bigger hospital, now very big, to a level 5 hospital. And I was actually referred and went. On reporting to the level 5 where I was referred to, they checked me. They were not so quick on that, because I was taken to the maternity wing, yet I was supposed to be more of an emergency case that needs special care. So I was checked. One thing that bothers me so much is the checks that were done, because I wasn't given an expert. I was given students who are checking on me. And as you can guess, students, they're just learning. So they were not sure how delicate my case was. They were teaching each other, actually using my body, and I'm in pain. And then they sent me for sonography, an ultrasound, and I was checked, and they said, the one who was checking my cervix said that the baby is fine. I'm bleeding, but the cervix is closed. Now, the fact that the cervix was closed meant I'm not dilating, and meant that the baby is fine and everything else is okay. Little did I know, the machine, the ultrasound machine was not accurate. And so I was discharged, told go home, don't take the medications you are given in your normal hospital, instead use these ones. And I was told just go home, everything will be fine. In my mind I was like, yeah, I will be fine. In fact, I remember rejoicing and said, I told my husband, you see, the other hospital, they were lying to us. At least this one are telling us the truth. We went home and everything was fine. I don't know how labor pains stopped during the day, but I didn't have any labor pains, any labor signs during the day, that now Wednesday. But now, come night around 8 p.m., no, I literally was in extreme pain. I remember, like, labor pains is a mess. It's not something you would want on anyone, except for bringing a baby. No, God, we are sorry. Yeah, and I couldn't sleep. I kept repenting that whole night. I can't remember. In fact, I got to a point I was telling my husband, do you know of any sin that I haven't repented of? He would tell me, perhaps it's the reason I'm feeling this immense pain. And, it wasn't a very, very sweet experience, but that was it. Coming to around, we tried sleeping. Actually, I'm someone who can really tolerate pain. By the time I'm telling you it is pain, trust me, it is very, very extreme. I can bear with pain. And took us the whole night. I'm laboring, I'm literally crying, I'm just in everything that you surrounds labor. But come to 5 a.m., now everyone was checking on me. Everyone who knows me, those close people who knew what was going on, were checking on me. And I would tell them, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I'm feeling. But because there was curfew, there is no way I could be taken to hospital even if I wanted to go. Plus, remember, we have just been in hospital the previous day, so whatever little money we were having had been exhausted, or it was just like a little that was remaining. So we didn't want to really waste a lot of money now that we don't know what exactly is going on. And in the morning, I felt like, no, I can't do anything. I felt like it's over. I felt like the fight was coming to an end. In me, nothing was telling me I'm losing the baby, but I just felt like, no, I am not fine and I'm not okay. And perhaps something is happening that I don't know. And I told my husband, please call this doctor, ask him, we are going through this, and we have been to this hospital and this one. Does he have a suggestion or a recommendation of any other hospital? And so the doctor recommended now another hospital that to him was also a good option. So we went, rushed by exactly around, let's say some minutes to 8, we were already at the hospital. And while they were doing the checks, actually when I was in the vehicle, I remember telling my husband, I don't feel like everything is okay. As much as you're telling me this feels weird. And so I was taken to that hospital. I couldn't walk, so I was taken using the wheelchair, run on a wheelchair. In the consultation room, they do 1 to 3 checks and they look at me and they told me, Mommy, you are losing this baby. This baby is about to be born. And we don't have the facilities to take care of this baby because the baby is not yet term. And the only thing we can do is refer you to level 5. Now the hospital I was in yesterday is where they wanted to refer me to again. And I was a bit hesitant, but now if it meant saving the baby, I was willing to go through all that again. Now that I'm aware I am losing the baby, so I was like, no, it's fine. If it's to save the baby, then well and good, I'm willing to go through this. And before they were actually looking for the ambulance, only to realize the doctor hadn't actually reported, not the doctor, the driver for the ambulance hadn't reported. And so they had to tell my husband, now look for a taxi, because if there is no ambulance, the other way to help is you look for a taxi so that we can find a way of taking your wife to that hospital. And Yeah, when they're still writing the discharge and the transfer papers and the referral letter, I told the doctor who was writing, please don't write anymore. I feel like the baby is coming and I won't have gone far. Trust me, I just finished that sentence. The next thing I can remember, I was on a wheelchair, in the lift, in the maternity, in the delivery room. And before I'm actually put on the bed, I felt some breath leave me. And I actually, the way, yes, I just did that. And the baby, the baby girl was here. So I delivered my baby on a wheelchair. She was fine. That one, she never cried. She didn't cry, but she was born alive. I could see her. Even just, you see how the body does, and like the baby is fine. So I knew the baby was fine. So the doctors are quickly helping the baby. But now remember, it's an emergency delivery. This is a preterm baby. They are not prepared to handle her. But they tried their best, and now they continue dealing with me. I think in the process of also making sure and stabilizing me and making sure I was fine, and also stabilizing the baby to try to save her and to even keep her better. Sadly, yeah, sadly we lost Chavi. She was born alive, and yeah, she went with the Lord. So I didn't know. By the time they are fixing me and they are taking care of me, I didn't know that the baby was dead. Actually, in my mind, I was like, actually, my mind was numb. My body was numb. Somehow, I was not conscious to the pain or to. I was relieved. It's like I found relief from the pain that I had been going through because I had been laboring for 3 days. So I felt like it's a relief. Finally, that heavy burden has been taken off my shoulder, off my body, and now I can be fine. And I had no idea until when they had finished stabilizing me. Then they asked me, "Are you fine?" I told them, "Yes, I'm fine." And then I asked them, "Where is my baby? Can I see my baby?" And they told me, "Yes, you can, but let's call your husband first." Actually, they had already told my husband what's happening, because see, they had told him we can take the baby out of my uterus and put her in the incubator. But now he had already known that we have lost the baby, but I didn't know. So they call him in and he just comes and holds me and tells me, let's look at the baby. Yeah, they had just placed her in some warm wrappings, and yeah, she was asleep. She was lifeless. And the doctor told me we couldn't do anything to save her because we don't have the necessary equipment. And we tried our best. But no, we were not prepared for this. Unfortunately, she bowed. At that point, it never hit me. I didn't know exactly what that meant, but I just looked at the baby. And because I was with my husband, he was also comforting me and just telling me, "No, it's well. I'm sorry, but it's well." At that point, I didn't know exactly what that meant. And so everything went into place. So I've lost my Chavi, Yidel. We called her Yidel Chavi. We lost her. And that was it. Well, we will talk about what happened next after the loss of Chavi, after the loss of Haziel. How did we heal? How did we cope up? How did we even go through the grieving process? we will talk about that in the next video. My prayer for any woman watching this and you have been through loss, pregnancy loss or infant loss, hold on. Look out for great insights coming. Look out for a transformational story that's coming your way soon. I would share many other things. Please, thank you for watching. I'm so glad. I don't take your viewership for granted. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe. Remember to like. Remember to comment. And even share with your friends. Let them know about this story. And even as you grow together, look forward to great content coming your way. Thank you so much. Until next time, the Lord keep you. Bye.